So with the funnel, I think personal brand plays a huge part with that. You look at the likes of Ask Paul. When you said about brokers there, he was the first person who came into my mind, build an amazing personal brand for himself. But you might just talk around in different stages of the funnel, how do personal brands play a part in building awareness for a company?
Yeah, Paul's probably a great example. Do not know him personally. I know Leighton, who's behind a lot of his marketing, so shout out Leighton. But Paul's a great example as well, because I, like, from a personal context, I'm going through the beautiful experience at the moment of trying to get a house in Ireland, and with that, obviously, you need a mortgage. And I'd consumed Paul's content, for example, for years across all levels of personal finance, and with that, a small portion of it would be around mortgage content. I was only very recently looking for a mortgage and a broker, obviously, to work with. So in that 2 month period over the last 4 years was the time where I was in market for that service. Yet everything done for the 4 years before that, me watching his lives, consuming content, hearing him on radio shows, all this stuff, paid a big part, a huge contribution factor into the decision I made in February to just go with him. So while obviously, we run ads, we do all these other things, that element of, trust, authority, feeling like, okay, he's the right person. And I know I wasn't dealing with him per se, it was his team, obviously, but having that level of trust and just going, okay, look, I know they've done it before. They've worked with a load of first time buyers. It's Dublin context. They know the market. All of those questions were just diminished from that experience of, me trusting him as a brand and his team as a brand. And so, okay, how can this be relevant, I guess, for your own business or in what you do? It's like, again, firstly, contextualize it to who you're going after. Okay, so if you're trying to convince a individual for a service, if you're trying to convince maybe a business for a service that you sell, or potentially even, let's say, a high net worth person, sometimes they almost fall in between both. If you're selling, and we work with, let's say, boutique tax firms, if, for example, they're working with high net worth individuals abroad, they almost make decisions like a business. Okay, so there's almost, again, like, just be really specific in who you're going after as a starting point, and know, okay, how do those people make decisions? Is it a snap judgment, or does that person go through a huge period of consideration? And if they do go through a period of consideration, so us going in and buying toothpaste or something, you don't go through a huge period of consideration, although you are impacted by brand. You just go in and you pick something off the shelf generally. Whereas some of the services you're going for in professional services, you will be in the back of your mind, without even realizing, building up information, building up a picture in your head of, I need to do a pension, or, geez, I'll probably look to buy a house next year. What are some of the questions I need at that point 2 years before that? Like, do I need to start saving, or in a different context with insurance and other areas as well? So there's stuff that you can be doing that isn't going to have a direct correlation or impact tomorrow. If you do, let's say, personal branding, if you do content, if you contribute to your own area and what you know and what you speak with clients every day in, and it's not going to pay off tomorrow. I think that's the most important thing, to do it. Judge it off small signals of progression. So could be vanity metrics at the start, which isn't obviously going to pay the bills long term, but those small signals of progression will eventually leave itself up to, geez, we got one referral from someone actually who was outside of our direct source of where we get our normal clients. At the end of a year, okay, we've actually got 10% of our clients from, our top directors, whereas we got 0 from last year. They're the signals of progression. And then next thing you know, it snowballs, and it gets to a situation which, Paul and his team have, which is probably, vast majority of their clients probably come through organic, which is, no cost of acquisition. Like, it's a fruitful strategy. People are going to tell their friends, and that's obviously the ultimate of where you want to get to. But, start small. The actual way in which to do it is probably a separate conversation, but the fruits of doing it and the wordiness of going after it is there for all to see, I think.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with that more. And I think it also speeds up the sales cycle as well. When you have these pillar forms of content, or I frame them as like evergreen forms of content, which we shoot for a huge amount of our clients, it means that when they're on the sales call, the person's already relatively informed as to their values, how they think, what their approach is, the kind of structure that they have in the back end, because they've actually absorbed a lot of that content already prior to booking in for that discovery call. So I can resonate with your own experience with Ask Paul, but how have you sort of taken some of those lessons from him into Evolve Marketing's client base, and how are they approaching that at the moment and leveraging video?
Yeah, I think, I still tell them, look, your firm can have a brand. So it's not like, I think up until recently and still probably in a lot of cases, you know, you can only speak from the firm, so through your firm's LinkedIn page or from your firm's website. And I'm not completely swimming against that. You know, your firm can still have a voice, but your firm's voice is probably going to be a bit more like diluted and boring and serious than you can be. You and other people in your business or your firm can actually sell the same service. So let's just take the mortgage as an example, the mortgage market. If you're a broker within that, you might have, you know, 20 people working within that who speak with people every day. Let's say they all go forward and start doing video content. Yeah, they're all selling the same service at the end of the day, but they're all going to be able to relate to their own audience very differently. So I'm making up an example, take Kate, who's 28 and a mortgage broker. Well, she's probably going to resonate more with first time buyers, maybe single people, maybe couples, you know, whereas take John, who's, you know, 60, it might be, you know, people at an investment property level. So you can still sell the same service, but how you're going to like show up on those platforms, and how you're going to contribute, how you're going to give content can be very specific and contextual to your audience. And it's the same with like maybe more quote unquote boring topics within maybe, let's just say, M&A or corporate law or so on. Yeah, your firm has the voice. They might be the research, and they might have like the full arm to support you with good information. But you can take that and add your opinion of flair and context and client situations to it. So again, it's not that it's one or the other. It's it's your directors, your partner should have a voice 100%, and your firm should still have that voice. And maybe it is it's client specific in context, but like it can be maybe a bit more serious, whereas you can add your own personality, a small bit more to it.
Yeah, no, it's very different to the way we would do things with CSM agency, because it's, as I said, it's pushing sales and leads, and it's looking at our funnel. And I think the most effective creatives that we use at the moment is a huge amount of UGC. So we have access to around 5,000 UGC creators. So it's actually seeing, well, what UGC creator really resonates with the brand that we're working with their audience. So like, same demographic, same age, similarities with the types of audience that they're buying from. And UGC, I mean, at the top of the funnel is the best way to kind of drive someone in. It's the psychology behind seeing someone that you resonate with online. It draws you in. And then from there, it's leveraging other things like a customer testimonial of them, maybe an unboxing of a product and using that product. I know that ties into UGC as well slightly, but testimonials, the way you actually frame a testimonial, it's funny, like we would test like the hook of the video, and the importance of that first 5 to 10 seconds is so vital. If you haven't nailed down a real pain point, what's keeping that person up at night, or something else that is going to drive them in and retain the watch time in that video. So it's just so different to the way a senior partner within a law firm would probably create content, and a product business would go about things.